Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to all our 12th Monarchs out there in Monarch Nation. You know, we coaches are sometimes accused of not being as nice as we should be to the media. Now, the media will tell you that we treat them like mushrooms. We put them in dark places and feed them candy. As you can see, here's some Skittles for Harry, some Skittles for Dave. We've got Jolly Ranchers coming out over here, some Skittles right there, and some Starburst, and Ted, a sweet tart for just a sweet guy back there. So let's not let it be thought that here at Old Dominion Football we don't take good care of our good friends here in the media. But in a very festive mood today, coming off of what was a complete win for us Saturday, 66-14 over Rhode Island. It puts our record at 6-3 overall, 5-0 at home. One of the goals we've set this year as a program was to be undefeated at home. No previous Old Dominion team has done that. And we now have that opportunity with one game remaining at home. Also a big shout out to our 12th Monarchs, our 34th consecutive sellout. Very grateful for that. And to the military. As you can see, I still have my honoring the military hat on for Military Appreciation Day. Again, a big thank you to all those that protect and serve our country. I felt like from this game we dominated in all three phases of the game, which was encouraging to see. We played two halves of football. The first half we won 31-7, and the second half we won 35-7. We had not done that the previous 2 weeks, dating back to our Pittsburgh game where we jumped out 10-0, and then we were outscored 28-0, and then the Norfolk State game we jumped out 17-3, and then got outscored 17-0 or 21-0 before we came back and won. And in this football game, we challenged ourselves as a team to play a complete game, and we did that. So very pleased with that. Turnovers, we won the turnover battle 2-0. We took two away with our defense. We had not done that the previous 2 weeks. Did not turn the ball over, and then third and fourth down. We were very good in those down and distances. We were 10 for 18 offensively, 56%, and even more impressive defensively, 13 out of 17 times on third and fourth down, 77%. We were successful, which got us off the field. Very pleased with the development and the game experience we're getting for a lot of players right now. 57 players played in this game on Saturday. 34 of them are first-year players, and I can see with each game we're making improvement. We're starting to understand situational football better. At the start of the year, particularly the first couple games, it was painful in certain situations, and I can see the momentum we're making right now. We only had 3 of 22 starters Saturday on offense and defense were seniors. And right now, with all the players that are going to be coming back, with all the players that are returning, and the progress we're making, we're definitely trending in the right direction right now as a football program. We took another big step forward defensively in this game, and overall right now, when I look at our defense, when you look at us overall, we're allowing 420 yards and 30 points a game. In our last 5 games, that's 335 yards and 20 points. So that's an 85-yard improvement off the average and 10 points. And then most recently in this game versus Rhode Island, 268 yards and 14 points. So when I say we're trending in the right direction, particularly defensively right now, and what really jumped out at me, I looked at the yardage in the last 4 games going back to Liberty. We allowed 401 yards. Then in the Pittsburgh game, we allowed 370 yards. And then in the Norfolk State game, 315 yards. And now in this Rhode Island game, 268 yards. So I see us making tremendous progress right now on that side of the ball under Coach Nagy and the defensive staff. You can see the excitement level. You can see the confidence level on defense. You know, if you walk out in the hallways right now, you see a lot of those defensive kids. They're here on what is their day off because they want to watch video. They're excited. They see the improvement right now we're making, and that's critical for the development of our program and what we're trying to accomplish. And in that game Saturday, we had 30 players on defense that played, 30 players that were involved. So we've got more guys now that are taking ownership, that are excited with the direction we're going on defense. In terms of offense, we were efficient in every measurable Saturday, 66 points, 633 yards. We were 9 for 9 in the red zone, which had been an area the last 3 weeks where we had not been as efficient as we were accustomed to. I was excited with the fact that we ran for 285 yards. According to Dave Fairbanks and a comment he made in an article last week, the first time we were to break 200 yards rushing, there'd be a soft serve ice cream machine in Bill D's office. Bill D followed up with me this morning on that. He'd like to know when that ice cream machine will be delivered. That's something the bill will be going to the Daily Press. Offensively, we also had 23 players involved Saturday. You saw a lot of different guys playing. I was really excited with the fact that we played all of our offensive linemen, all of our receivers, all of our running backs. We got David Washington in for some quality time, and as you all can see, David Washington, with every snap he takes, he's getting better as a football player. Speaking to this week's opponent, Idaho, the one very glaring statistic that I shared with our team yesterday in the team meeting is that Idaho has one FBS win, Old Dominion has 0. And that's really what our players need to know right now and what we need to focus on. You know, they've got something we don't have and something that we want. Their one win came against Temple at home. And our challenges this week, there's 3 very big challenges. Number 1 is we're beat up right now as a football team. This is as beat up as I've seen us since going back to 2010. We've got 22 players that are on the injury report. We've got 8 starters that are out, and at this point it looks like the majority of them could be out for the season. We've got to travel a long distance, over 2,700 miles, to play this game, and then we've got to play Idaho in their dome on Senior Day, which Idaho's been a much different team when they played at home than they have on the road this year. They've been very competitive at home, other than the Fresno State game, who Fresno State right now is number 16 in the latest BCS rankings. Everybody else they played has been very, very competitive, including Northern Illinois, who played in the Orange Bowl last year, and then most recently Texas State, who's a 6-win bowl team. That's who they lost to Saturday at home. They're a much different football team when they play at home. Offensively, they've got a running back that's similar to the running back we faced at Pittsburgh, James Baker, who went for 115 yards this weekend. He's a big back. He's 6'2", 230 pounds. They've got a big old line, so that concerns me. They run a complicated scheme on offense, which at times has backfired against them, but then at other times it's got guys running wide open in the pass game, and with an inexperienced defense like we have, that concerns me. So we've got to have a great week of preparation against what they're doing offensively. Defensively, they've struggled. They've only got 2 seniors that are in the starting lineup. They're playing a lot of younger players, a lot of transfers, not unlike us in terms of philosophically what they're trying to do. First-year coach, they're trying to build for the future, but what's really impressed me is they compete, and they compete for the entire game. So overall, this is 2 programs that are in transition. You know, we're transitioning to Conference USA, playing a kind of a makeshift schedule this year. They're transitioning to the Sun Belt. They're playing an unbelievable makeshift schedule in terms, particularly their travel. They've traveled through a number of time zones. They have a bye next week, and then they go to Florida State the week after. They will have played 8 teams on their schedule that'll go to bowl games this year. So they've played a very competitive schedule. And I'm not so sure if you flip the roles right now. If you flip the schedules, Old Dominion's schedule, and had us play their schedule and had Idaho play our schedule, I'm not so sure. It might not be similar in terms of the records of the team. I think we're evenly matched in this football game. They've got the advantage because they're playing at home. So this will be a major challenge, but one that we're very excited for as a program. And I'll take questions.
The injury update. How you mentioned 8 starters. Can you go through them?
Yeah, I mean, going back to, we learned this past week that David Bourne is out for the year. Blair Roberts does in fact have a concussion, and he is questionable at this point. We're still early in the week, being Monday, but he's definitely questionable. Gerard Johnson with the with the ankle sprain. He's questionable. Defensively, Dom Ginn-Bailey, who's been out the last couple of weeks, he's questionable at this point is coming off a concussion. Larry Alston, linebacker, same thing, questionable. Eric Lewis, who's been playing as good a football as anybody for us defensively the last month, he's definitely out for the year. Anthony Wilson, who had been starting at linebacker and had just been getting better every week as a redshirt freshman, he's going to be out for the year. That high ankle sprain's that's a bad one. And then, obviously Galen Evans, who we've been out the entire year. We've been without Galen, which I bring that up because it makes us thin right now in that interior defensive line, and with Galen out and Dom out. So this reminds me a lot of 2010 in that we've gotten beat up at this point in the season. And the good thing for us, Harry, is the fact that we've been playing so many players, that the next guy's been able to step in and at this point be an experienced guy. It's not as if we're putting in guys who haven't played at all. We're putting guys in who have played some football. We're getting really thin at some positions right now, particularly linebacker and at running back.
What are the primary challenges when you're traveling this kind of distance, and especially going to a place that you're not familiar with?
Yeah, the number one thing, Dave, going back to this spring, I did some research and talking to some other schools that have traveled 3 time zones just to find out what's been the approach. Does anybody leave a day earlier? What do they do with their Friday practice? And most of the feedback I got from folks that I talked to was they try to stay on the same schedule. Try not to vary the players' schedules. So we're going to take the approach like we've always done. We'll practice here on Friday. We'll hop on a plane and go. It's scheduled to be a 4.5-hour flight. So I've already instructed the players to grab their favorite pillow, as we'll be trying to rest up on this one, and then just try to keep them on a regular routine, Dave. So we're gonna stay on East Coast time, and as far as we're concerned, this is a 5 o'clock kickoff. So a similar approach, if you will, to Maryland that was a 4 o'clock kickoff. We'll try to keep the players on that type of a schedule.
Hey, you were talking about the progress that you all have made defensively, yet injuries have affected kind of what you're doing and how you can rotate guys in and out.
Right.
In what specific areas have you seen improvement? Is it up front, linebacker play, assignments? Can you elaborate on
Sure.
that a little bit?
Yeah, the number one thing, Dave, I've seen is the knowledge of the scheme, the knowledge of what we're doing. And this goes back to the East Carolina game. On Friday, I put the East Carolina game on defense, put that on. And then I put the Norfolk State game on. We just look so much faster as a defense. And I've always felt as a coach, when the players can think fast, they can play fast. And they have a better knowledge now of our defense. So you're taking some kids that at the start of the year looked like they were 5'0", 40 guys, and now they look like they're 4'7", 40 guys. They look faster on the field. Coach Nagy's able to do some more things schematically. We've changed some philosophically to what we're doing defense. When you watched us Saturday, you're looking and you're seeing Reggie Owens in a lot of man coverage, and then there's across from him there's 2 freshmen, Sandy Chapman, playing a lot of man coverage. Well, Sandy Chapman wasn't playing first game of the year. Now he's adapted at being able to play man coverage. He's adapted at being able to disguise and play a zone coverage. And those are the type of things now that we're able to do defensively, where our defensive staff's in there right now, and they can look at some things schematically Idaho's doing, and they can make some adjustments. At the start of the year, we just try and get lined up. It was as simple as that, and we were very obvious to our opponents. Well, we're not as obvious now defensively when we line up. There's some disguise in there. There's some blitz by week against opponent. There's some different things we're doing to try to take away what an opponent's doing. And the biggest thing, Dave, that I see is now our players are gaining confidence. They were getting beat up pretty good at the start of the year defensively, and rightfully so. When you look at 3 of the first 4 games between East Carolina, Maryland, and Citadel, it didn't look very good. And I just kept reminding them and everybody, we just got to stay with this process. Just keep playing, and we're going to get better. And that's what's happened to us, and that's why I feel better about the fact that we can sustain this, even though we're getting beat up right now. We're playing enough players that we can get some other guys in.
Even though Idaho does not have a good record, their attendance at 14, 15, 16,000 a game inside a dome.
Mm-hmm.
This is senior day. It's going to be, I would think, a fairly hostile environment.
Yeah, I've got an experience I can relate to it, that when I was coaching at Maine, actually I was with Coach Nagy in 2002. When I was the offensive coordinator and Rich was defensive coordinator, we played at the Unidome in northern Iowa, and similar size venue. And it gets very loud because it's so closed in. It's not unlike a basketball arena. And when you look at the dimensions of this arena, you can run through the end zone, and you better slow down quick because you're going to hit the wall. The wall's literally right outside the end zone, and that's it makes for a loud facility. I can see it when I watch the opposing team's offenses play against their defense. When you see the sideline camera angle, you can see their fans. And you can see them up on their feet, and you can see the quarterback he has to walk up to the line to make checks and make the calls. And it should be a great environment. It should make for a great environment to play. I tried to describe it to our players on Sunday that this isn't going to be like the Georgia Dome, where you can yell across the field to your buddy and he can hear you. It was just cavernous. It was 5,000 people in a 70,000 seat arena. It's going to be loud. It's going to be exciting. It'll make for a really good environment for the players.
Any other questions for Coach?
Thank you all for coming, 12th Monarchs, and if you could reach through the camera, we'd offer you some Halloween treats as well. We'll see you in 2 weeks at home, Campbell. Hopefully our 36th consecutive sellout, right, Ted? 35? Well, let's double it. Let's make it 35 and 36. Thank you, 12th Monarchs.